America before 1492, Part 2, The Great Empires. Last time, we shattered the myth of an empty continent. We saw the cities and nations that thrived. Now we journey into the beating hearts of the two most powerful empires the Americas had ever seen. The Aztec of Mexico and the Inca of the Andes. We're not just visiting ruins. We're walking into capitals that dazzled and terrified the Europeans who found them. Let's start in the Valley of Mexico. Here, the Mexica people, who we call the Aztecs, built Tenochtitlan. Think Venice, but on a grander, more audacious scale. A city of canals, floating gardens called chinampas, and towering pyramids fed by aqueducts. At its central precinct stood the Templo Mayor, a dual pyramid dedicated to the gods of rain and war. At its market, a single Spanish soldier claimed you could find everything from gold and jade to chocolate, spices and exotic animals, a testament to an empire built on a vast network of tribute from conquered lands. But this sophistication had a dual nature. The Aztec state was a militaristic powerhouse. Their society was highly stratified, and their cosmology required the ritual of human sacrifice to, as they believed, nourish the gods and keep the sun rising. To their enemies, the Aztecs were terrifying overlords. To themselves, they were the keepers of the fifth sun, a civilization of staggering poetry, complex calendars, and brutal necessity. They recorded their history and rituals in beautiful pictorial codices. They were, in every sense, an imperial civilization. Now travel 3,000 miles south to a different kind of empire. The Inca, or Tawantinsuyu, didn't conquer flat plains. They mastered the world's most rugged mountains. Their capital, Cusco, was designed in the shape of a puma, the navel of the world. Their genius was integration and organization. They built a 25,000-mile road network across peaks and canyons, with relay runners who could deliver messages faster than any horse in Europe. Look at their stonework. Massive blocks carved and fitted together without mortar, so precisely you can't slip a knife between them. Earthquake-proof for 500 years. This wasn't just art. It was a statement of total control over the environment. The Inca state was a benevolent tyranny. There was no money, no markets in the way we understand. Instead, the state controlled all land and resources, required labor tribute for public works, and in return provided security and distributed food from state storehouses. They created vast agricultural terraces to feed millions, and connected a realm of unmatched ethnic diversity with a single official language, Quechua, and a unifying sun god religion. So we have two models of empire. The Aztec, a dynamic mercantile, tribute-based system centered on a metropolis. The Inca, a hyper-centralized, state-planned organism that molded the mountains themselves. Both were at the peak of their power and complexity in the early 1500s. Then, the world changed. In 1519, Hernan Cortes and his men climbed the pass and saw Tenochtitlan shimmering on the lake. The Spanish described it as a vision from a book of chivalry, too beautiful to be real. In 1532, Francisco Pizarro encountered the Inca Atahualpa at Cajamarca. These meetings were not between the advanced and the primitive. They were clashes between different ancient trajectories of civilization, each with their own monumental achievements and fatal vulnerabilities. The European advantage was not culture or intelligence. It was the devastating biological weapon of old-world diseases, smallpox, measles, influenza, that swept ahead of them, killing perhaps 90% of the population and collapsing social order. It was the timing of internal conflict, like the Inca Civil War. And it was a ruthless, desperate willingness to exploit these catastrophes. The fall of these empires was not inevitable. It was a catastrophic collision. But to only see them through the lens of their defeat is to commit a grave historical error. It erases their breathtaking accomplishments. For a few moments in history, Tenochtitlan and Cusco ruled as two of the most impressive, organized, and innovative empires anywhere on the globe. They were the proud owners of their world. Next time in our final part we ask, what remains? The story does not end with conquest. We will trace the unbroken thread of resistance, adaptation, and legacy. We will see how the seeds planted by these great empires in the food we eat, the words we speak, and the spirit of resilience still shape the Americas today. This is the true meaning of Sankofa. We look back not to live in the past, but to understand the deep roots of our present.